Hello everybody, this is Gary Marr from Glendale Community College. This screen captures from my CIS 150 AB class, and in it I want to talk about a couple examples that are inside Canvas. One is a pseudocode file, and one is a Python file. Now pseudocode is one of the options we have for modeling logic, and basically it's a text-based solution where we take and describe the steps necessary to solve a problem, step by step, top to bottom, left to right. We'll read this the same way we read a book. And it's going to look somewhat like programming code, if you're familiar with programming. If you're not, it's going to look somewhat cryptic, because when we talk to computers, there's a very specific way we need to talk to them. However, pseudocode is non-standard and cannot be executed by the computer. Please be rest assured, too, that some of this information is going to be new for you right now, and it'll be covered in later chapters in the textbook. But just to get you started to understand how a logic model becomes a solution to a computer problem, or a problem that we're going to solve with a computer, I'm going to show you an example of pseudocode, and then I'm going to show you an example of Python. There are examples also in the textbook and also in the PowerPoint slides, but this is more of a complete solution, which I put inside the Notepad++ text editor. Let's start with the pseudocode. For starters, with all programming language, there's something that will be available called a comment character. The comment character I'm using in my pseudocode is a £. It's also the same as what Python uses, is a £. Some languages use a slash, double slash, a single apostrophe, depending on what you're programming with, but I'm going to use a £. And all a comment is text that the person who's developing the logic has included in the file to help you better understand what this thing is supposed to do. And what I've done here is describe what this is. It's going to basically be the labor rate for installation of carpet. It's going to calculate the area. It's going to give us a rate or a fee that we're going to charge per square foot, and then also it's going to tell us what the cost of the customer would be by doing a calculation of rate times area. Now, you're going to find, too, that we're going to use identifiers in all of our examples in pseudocode. Identifiers are basically variables. These are names which can hold values that we're using in our logic, and constants are values that do not change. Again, there'll be more on this, I believe, in Chapter 2 of the textbook. So what I have here is the start of my pseudocode, and that's an important keyword that has to be there. I have a comment character with a comment. These are my identifiers and inputs. I'm going to create 3 variables, length, width, and rate. I'm going to initialize their values to be 10, 10, and 0.4 based on the business rules up here on top. The process for doing the calculation will be creating a new variable called area, and that will include the length times the width, and the new variable called labor that will be area times rate. And again, that's up in the business rules. And also the cost of customer, which will be area plus labor. Finally, I want to display this information out to the customer on their screen. So I'm going to put cost of customer, and then I'm going to display that value. Cost of customer, in this case, since it's enclosed in double quotes, is a literal, which means just text that's going to the screen. Again, this is something we'll cover inside the textbook and also in the PowerPoints. You'll also do this for one of your assignments. This is very similar to assignment 2. Finally, we need to enter our pseudocode with a keyword end. Now, even though this looks a little cryptic, looks like it might be computer code, this cannot be executed. This is non-standard programming code. You can use any number of ways of putting it down inside the file. In fact, for example, instead of using the word times, I could have used the symbol for times, which would be an asterisk, and that would be acceptable. I could have changed any one of these names to something different. I could have spelled out length, width, and that would have been fine. In fact, what could happen here is a class of 24 students, I could get 24 different pseudocode files, and all of them could be correct because they're all non-standard. They describe step by step what this program needs to do, and that's all the requirement is for pseudocode. A definition, a recipe, a blueprint, directions on what the logic needs to do to come up with a solution to give me how much this is going to cost the customer to put carpet in. What I've also done here, and both these files are inside Module 1, is I've also created the Python program which we could use to test this particular logic. In other words, whereas pseudocode can't be executed, Python can. So what I've done, I've changed this to Python. You're going to see some changes. You're going to see, for example, Python needs to have this instruction in the first position of the file, or on that line. You're going to also see Python using the symbols for the arithmetic operators and not the words spelled out. you're going to see that there's a special print function that Python has that allows us to put things to the screen. So that would be the difference from pseudocode, which is simply a plan, a logic model, a blueprint, directions, and then the final product to actually get it to run, execute, and test. We'll be focusing on pseudocode. I will be showing you Python. You will learn a little bit of Python in this class, but you won't have to, you won't never be tested, or you don't have to submit assignments in Python unless you want to, in which case then I have to grade them as if they're pseudocode, but that's fine because many students are very interested in programming. They will take the pseudocode, convert that to Python, and submit that for assignment. That's fine. Or just submit pseudocode. That's fine. There'll also be some assignments with flowcharts. I don't have a flowchart for this example, but there will be plenty of time to go over those as we get further into the class. I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some sort of perspective on what we're going to be doing throughout this 16 weeks with the class. And if you have any questions, let me know.